I don't know if any man in this room knows what it's like to wake up in the morning with so much anxiety. As soon as your eyes pop open, it's just like the world caves in on you. And you walk around and you just want to know where it's coming from. I said it would have been so much easier if I woke up in the morning and some man just started beating me with a stick. At least I knew where the pain was coming from. And people would go, why are you so miserable? Because he keeps hitting me. My wife would ask me, why are you so miserable? And I'd go, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to be. I don't know. She goes, why can't you enjoy your job? I go, I don't know. What's the point? What is the point? Don't you care? There's a point. There's a purpose to this. And my wife would go, no. I just want my family. 10 minutes from divorce court, she says, pull over. I can't. I want to rethink it. And I said, babe, if you're in this, you're in for the long haul. I can't be playing this anymore. I can't. Let's just cut it and go. She says, no, Jeff, I don't know why. I don't know why. We know why now, but we didn't know then why. But anyway, we go home. 8 months goes by. It's not getting much better. It's getting a little better. It's not much. She comes to me and she says, I'm going to Ohio with the kids. And I said, we can't afford to go to Ohio. She says, you're not invited. And I said, well, how are you going to get there? She says, my father's going to pay for the trip. We're taking the boys and we're going for the summer. And she says, well, I'm gone. You're going to get your life together. I'm coming up on my 40th birthday. And I'm telling you, I have no clue. I have no idea. I went to Domino's Pizza to get a job to deliver pizzas, and they wouldn't hire me. You want to talk about humbling? You're a 40-year-old man with a mortgage and kids and wife, and you figure I'm lowering myself to get this job. And the kid looks at my application and says, comedian. That's it? That's the only job you've had? He said, what do you want me to do with this? And I said, we're not splitting atoms. We're delivering pizzas, for God's sake. Apparently my interviewing skills had suffered over the years, too. But it was like, my God, don't make me beg for a job delivering pizzas. I go home and tell my wife I'm unemployable. I can't take it anymore. Anyway, she packs the kids up. And before she leaves, she grabs these tapes that I've been collecting. And she puts them in a pile. And she says, you either listen to these things or I'm throwing them out. And again, I had no reason to say, keep them. I hadn't listened. I hadn't even thought about them in a year and a half, 2 years. I don't know. I'd just been collecting them and throwing them on the different houses. And that little voice, the little quiet voice says, yeah, leave them there. But leave them on the floor. I'll get to them. I don't care. And a few days goes by. I'm walking by the tapes. And I said, little voice says, open one up. And I said, I start to walk. Another voice says, well, for what? There's nothing in there for you. Nothing. And then that starts, that whole dialogue of what's in there. I want to get it. I want to get it. When I read about demonic realms and angelic realms in the Bible, I went right back to this moment in my life. Because it was a struggle to get in there because something knew what was in them things. And I ripped one open. I finally got over there after 5 minutes. I'm 40 years old and I'm having an argument with myself in the front room. I used to say that's why I got drunk in the morning. It was crowd control. But it just, maybe I am nuts. I don't know. But I'm trying to get into this. I rip one open. I throw them on the floor and I go there. There's a couple tapes. And I go, all right, what am I going to do now? Pick one up, Ecclesiastes. And I couldn't even pronounce it. It was Ecclesiastes or whatever. I said, I don't know what this thing. I got to get that Bible. Where's that Bible? Oh, it's in the junk drawer. That's where I left it. I pulled the Bible out of the junk drawer. I put the tape into the machine, and I started listening to this pastor from Denton, Texas, talk about what Solomon, this wise old man, 78 years old, wrote Ecclesiastes at the end of his life about life on earth. And it starts out with meaningless, meaningless. It's all meaningless. That got my attention. Boom. Because that's the way I felt. I couldn't find anything worth meaning in this earth. Really, nothing. Not in career, not my wife, not my kids, not my cars, not my home, nothing. And he starts talking about it. And basically, Solomon's conclusions were that life without God will have no meaning. And I didn't understand that. And as he began to explain about the creation, in order to enjoy the creation, you have to know the one that created it. And if happiness were an act of will, we'd all be happy. Because that's basically what we want out of life. Everybody wants to be happy. You ask them, if it was an act of human will, why aren't we happy? We're the most medicated species on the planet. We really are. And what it is, what I found out, what he said was something has to come outside of us, inside of us, change our hearts, and then work its way out through the act of service to others. And I was blown away. For the first time in my life, I heard something that made sense. And I believe it was because that day God chose to turn it on inside me. That was the light switch that went on. And I was like, wow, this is it. This is what I was looking for. I wanted purpose. I wanted some reason to get up in the morning and put one foot in front of the other. And then I said, without God, I have no. Well, how do I get God? I open another tape, put another tape, another tape, another tape, because I'm a compulsive, addictive personality. I'm not kidding you, man. And I'm making notes in my Bible, and I'm going like, man, this is the greatest stuff I've ever heard. At one point, I wanted to run on my lawn and hold the Bible up. Have you read this thing? Wow, what a book! Man, this is amazing. Wow. And I don't know why it was 40 years or whatever. This was a 13-year journey up to this point. I'm not telling you, this did not come overnight. I didn't get the road to Damascus epiphany that Paul got. I'm telling you, man, I sought this. And I went out and I laid in fetal position. I used to go to the desert and scream up at God, all right, if you're up there, show me. And I mean, it was today, that day. And I'm listening to these tapes, and then he gets to the Jesus that he knew. The one he says he was at a prison, and I'll never forget this line. I love this line. He was at a prison doing a sermon, and he said to the prisoners in this prison, he said, I would not walk across this stage to tell you about my religion, Christianity, but I will crawl on my hands and knees through broken glass to hell and back to tell you about the love of my Savior, Jesus Christ. And I heard that as a man. As a man, I said, that's what I want. I want something. I want something that I want to die for. I believe this, that a man is not, and I'm talking about a man, I'm not a woman, but I'm a man, and I said, a man is not fully alive till he has something in his life that he's willing to give his life up for. And I'd like to think I'd give my life up for my wife and kids, but I'll tell you something. I'll give my life up now for my Savior and my right to profess this faith, because I'm telling you, it transformed my life.